Hi everyone, it's Candace Craw-Goldman again from quantumhealers.com. How are y'all doing today? It's been a great day for me, I must say. Okay, today I want to talk about something that comes up all the time in the world of quantum healing, QHHT and BQH. It is the term somnambulistic, and specifically the question, is the somnambulistic state required for healing? I can't tell you how many emails I get that say, I went to this practitioner or I went to somebody for this sort of session and he or she couldn't put me under. Okay, so they're talking about hypnosis, and a whole lot of this comes from Dolores Cannon. And if you've studied Dolores Cannon's work or practiced QHHT or just watched some of her videos that are online, you've probably heard this term a lot. As a matter of fact, Dolores would say it like this: I take my clients to the somnambulistic state of trance. And I've said it before, but I will say it again. Sure, she did. Sometimes, just like I do. Sometimes, just like all the practitioners out there do, sometimes. It's really not so much about the method or the practitioner, it's more about the client. So many people believe that without achieving somnambulism, they can't have a successful session, or even worse, that no healing can happen. Now, I'm here to tell you that this is just not true. It's not true. Okay? Healing is not confined to one specific brainwave state, especially now. In fact, healing has been known to happen before, during, or even long after the session, and sometimes in ways we don't expect. Okay, let's go ahead and define somnambulism, and kind of in two different ways. So let's start with the basics. What is somnambulism? The generally widely accepted definition refers to a deep hypnotic state where the conscious mind is completely bypassed. It basically, the name somnambulistic state means sleepwalking, okay? It's the same state where sleepwalkers operate, deeply unconscious but still able to move and respond. Okay, so now here's where things get interesting. Dolores Cannon had her own definition of somnambulism. She didn't slot into the conventional definition, same like she didn't with the subconscious mind. Those two words give us a lot of issue here. She just didn't mean a deep trance where the conscious mind steps aside. She meant something more experiential. She used the term, and I asked her over and over again, and this came up in every class over and over again. She used the term to describe a state where the client would fully feel as if they were inside the experience, as if they were truly living it and experiencing it right then with all the emotions, all the feelings, all the sensations, whatever that may be. Okay, so this caused a lot of confusion because people started believing that if they weren't completely out, like with anesthesia, or if they recalled parts of their session, then they weren't in somnambulism and therefore they couldn't be healed. Okay, that simply isn't the case. It's just not the case. Healing of all kinds happens in all brainwave states. The truth is, healings have occurred in clients across many different brainwave states, not just deep trance. It's just not the only place that you need to be. So let's take a quick look at the brainwave states people can be in during a session or before. Fully awake and alert before the session, driving to the session, talking to the practitioner before it ever starts. Alpha. Relaxed meditative light hypnosis. Maybe we're getting the client to relax. Maybe it's the first part of the induction. And then there's theta. That's a pretty special state, but it's not the only place healing can happen. Theta is deeper hypnosis, deep hypnosis, the dreamlike state where most BQH and QHHT sessions take place. But we go in and out. It's so dependent on the person. And then there's delta, and that's the very deep unconscious state. This is not normally achieved or needed for any session. This is true sleep. And that's doesn't have anything to do with snoring, which absolutely happens in theta a lot, by the way. So healing has been documented in all of these states. I've had clients have their issue disappear before even showing up. I've had clients, while we were talking, make discoveries, and their healing happens right then before the session ever takes place. I have some people book a session, set the intention, something shifts, maybe they suddenly realize something, they suddenly release a fear or a chronic symptom, vanishes overnight. We used to say, we still do, that sometimes just taking the step of going to book and plan on and finally deciding that you're going to go achieve or look for some help to achieve an issue, a challenge, that's all that's needed, right? Some very deliberate steps taken. And sometimes that's when the healing happens. I can't tell you how many clients I've had that show up and say, well, I was going to have you do X, Y, Z, but those things are all gone. So let's do ABC. It happens a lot. So some people do heal just from setting the appointment or from talking before the session even starts. I've seen clients have breakthroughs in conversation even before they enter the relaxed state, and then the session's just kind of like a cherry on top. Just bringing awareness to a subconscious issue can be enough to initiate deep healing. And of course, the classic, some people heal during the session itself. Sometimes it's very dramatic and it's very obvious, and sometimes it's not. You just don't know. Some of the most profound healings I've had with clients have been like, yeah, she's healed. I mean, no drama, no shaking, no sweating, no story, no lights, no orbs, none of that. And then they're just healed. And some people have some of those other things and they're healed, and some people have some of the drama and only get partial healing, possibly. I mean, none of this is the same, right? So whether the clients are in theta, alpha, or somewhere in between, their higher self or their subconscious, however you want to think about those different things and terms and definitions, delivers what they need when they're ready for it, when it matches their life contract and their goals for this life. And many others heal after the session is over. That is my own experience that I had with Dolores all those years ago. When I sat up, I had been sort of, even though it was all new to me, I sat up from my session with Dolores Cannon herself thinking, okay, well, my pain should be gone. And I sort of internally thought about it and I'm like, my pain's not gone. What up with that, Dolores? Anyway, what I realized and what happened for me eventually is over the course of 4 or 5 months, my healing did take place. We've asked over and over again why that might happen. That's another video. We'll talk about that in another video. The subconscious might plant the seeds of healing that might take days, weeks, or even months to bloom. Maybe some other things need to happen. Maybe some other actions need to take place. Some other goals, some other life contracts need to be fulfilled. Some people wake up one morning and realize that their chronic physical or emotional burden that they've carried for years is just gone. But I want to be honest here. Some people don't experience healing at all. And why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of them. But it brings me to one of the biggest misconceptions of all, which is this: the modality and the facilitator. So Dolores said, and I agree with this statement 100%, 90% of a session is up to the client. Healing, all healing is self-healing, and it takes place within the client. The facilitator is sort of a guide, sort of has boundaries, sort of helps some timing of things. The practitioner facilitates the space and holds the space for sure, but the real healing work happens within the client. It's nothing I do. It's nothing outside forces do. Can they help? Can they inspire? Can they assist? Absolutely. But so much of it has to do with the inside of you. And here's something really important to understand. Recalling details from your session does not mean you failed. So many people think that. Well, I remembered everything. So, I remembered everything about my session with Dolores and more. And more that still is coming to my awareness 17 years later. Okay, not achieving deep somnambulism does not mean healing is impossible. Your conscious mind being aware does not block your healing. It doesn't. Especially if you're more evolved. Let me repeat that. Your conscious mind being aware of what's going on does not block your healing. Healing happens when it's ready to happen, when contracts are filled, when realizations are made, when forgiveness is given, when learnings have happened, when agreements are brought up, understood, and acknowledged. Not because of the depth of trance. Please believe me this. I've done so many thousands of sessions. But if you believe you need to be completely out, completely unconscious to heal, you're going to possibly unintentionally block yourself from trusting in this session. But if you can be open and you can allow yourself to receive healing in whatever way that comes, sometimes this very neutral space, just being open, I'm just here, let's see what happens. Sometimes that's the best place you can be to open the door for transformation. All right, so I hope that answers that issue today. If you are a healer of any kind, a service to others practitioner, please know you can join us at quantumhealers.com. We're an open-minded, non-censored place where we give each other support, we learn from each other horizontally, we are guru-free. We have a worldwide directory listing service, and we have a learning platform. Please join us, quantumhealers.com. Tell me about your healing journey below. Have you ever experienced the somnambulistic state? I'd love to know. All right, that's all for now. Bye-bye.